Yeah, let's get on to 1978's Game of Death. So, right, basically what happened is they pre-sold footage of the Game of Death, which of course Bruce Lee was working on while he was alive. It'd be a bit hard for him to work on it while he wasn't. And basically he was working on the Game of Death, and they pre-sold the film to Japan. And so I think they were like, oh, we pre-sold it, we might as well make it, might as well finish it. Who's a good person to do this film? Who'd be an appropriate director? And they decided to go to Robert Klaus, who of course directed Enter the Dragon. Very logical decision. Robert Klaus said that he didn't like the footage that Bruce Lee filmed, and so he decided to use considerably less of it, which we'll get to. And he changed the script of the film. Basically, in the original, as we discussed on the That's Why They Were Quality podcast, the plot of the film was Bruce Lee was a martial arts champion, and the mafia kidnapped his family. So they made him and a few accomplices go to this island where there was a 5-story pagoda, and as they go up the pagoda, they'd face increasingly harder challenges. Each fighter would have a different style of martial arts, and it'd basically be an exploration of martial arts. Basically, it'd be basically Bruce Lee explaining his philosophy of martial arts. And great idea for a film, but Robert Klaus went, nah, fuck that. Basically, fuck the pagoda idea. It's going to be a Chinese restaurant now. Yeah. Oh my word. They tried. It says it all. I mean, they tried to get James Coburn, Steve McQueen, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to be in this film, but they all turned it down because they felt it was bad taste. I'd say it was a good.
They knew it was shit.
It was shit.
Basically. So his idea, so he did Enter the Dragon, so it's obviously he's talented. But do you think it's because at the end of the day it was still Bruce Lee and his writing and his ideas? That's why Enter the Dragon worked so well, and then he was finally given all the creative freedom here, and he totally just fucked it.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say it's as you say, must have some talent. Did Enter the Dragon, and as much as you watch that film to see Bruce Lee, and maybe you could say Jim Kelly and John Saxton and that, but the crew and the director, they contributed to it as well as the incredible music. So yeah, but the main star of that film is Bruce Lee, and he must be talented, Robert Klaus, but it just shows he's left to his own devices. Oh, mate,
he's Russo.
He's very, mate. Yes, he is. He Russo'd this fucking film.
He Russo'd it.
Fucking awful. And yeah, Chuck Norris, he was very angry. Well, I think he was angry that he was billed as featuring in this film, and the extent of his feature is they played footage from the fight scene between him and Bruce in the opening titles, and that counts as featuring. So that tells you how desperate they were.
Evidently.
Yeah. So let's get into the film. So I'll give him this. Opening titles, very cool. And
also, at least they kept the name. At the end of the day, the name is still class. It's a good name for a film.
That's very true. That is very true. Yeah. I should also say, one of the reasons put forth, I think, for Robert Klaus for rewriting the script is that by the time that this film had come out, we'd already seen the Game of Death idea. All these Bruceploitation films have basically copied it, and they've released it. He basically said that the Game of Death idea had been done so many times by these Bruceploitation films that he wanted to change it. That was his reason. It's a shit reason. I don't think anyone would have given a shit that no one even probably heard of these imitations.
Yeah, I just got me copy of fucking the clone of Bruce Lee from the Philippines. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to see the real thing now.
It's probably like 10 copies made in its history.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the reason apparently Robert Klaus gave for for rewriting the script. But I'll give the film this. Opening titles, they're quite cool, and the music as well. Can't knock that. It was written by John Barry, who was the famous writer to the James Bond films. A legend, John Barry. You can't deny one of the greatest film composers in history. Apparently what happened is he didn't want to do this film, so he asked for like a really ridiculously high fee to do it, and they paid it, so he was like, I might as well do it now. So yeah, I bet he did, and you can kind of tell, because it basically seems like a James Bond song that didn't quite make the cut for a Bond film. It's very Bond, this soundtrack, but it's all right.
Quite disappointing, because considering like how good the previous film soundtracks were.
Oh yeah, I mean everything from Fist of Fury onwards, Fist of Fury to Enter the Dragon, and banging songs. And this song, I think it's all right. I think the song's okay, but yeah, it didn't seem it's a bit of a Bond knockoff, really. But fair play, John Barry got to make that paper. So yeah, the film opens and we see footage from the Colosseum fight from The Way of the Dragon, of course, between Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee. Then we see that a film crew is filming them, and we're on the set of that film. We're on the set of The Way of the Dragon. They call for cut, and then we see a light almost falls on Bruce, who they call Billy Lowe. So yeah, Bruce Lee is a geezer called Billy in this film. Billy Lowe. Yeah.
How the mighty fallen.
Yeah. And Billy Lowe, he looks up, and then we cut to a shot of Bruce Lee looking up from The Way of the Dragon. There's no attempt to make these shots look like they match. And
no,
straight
it looks
out,
completely different, doesn't it?
It's completely different. Straight out of the gate, letting you know what this film's going to be. Billy Lowe then walks into his dressing room, and we cut to a shot of Bruce with him being dubbed over, and then it's back to Billy Lowe again, not matching at all. A mafia bloke, Steiner, is sitting in there and tries to threaten Billy Lowe to cooperate with him and the mob. And while he's doing this, Billy Lowe sits in front of a mirror, and while they're talking, we cut to shots of Bruce from different films, again trying to pass him off as Billy Lowe, but they don't match. And
this shots are awful, mate. Why did he even bother?
Well, and you're thinking it can't get any worse, and it does. Billy Lowe, as I say, in front of a mirror, and they've stuck a picture of Bruce Lee's face. I'm not sure how they've done it. They stuck it onto the mirror, or they basically, they've well, I don't know if they superimposed it. I don't know. But basically, they've got a mask, like a Bruce Lee, cut out. They've cut out Bruce Lee's face. They've stuck it there, and then they've got the actor playing Billy Lowe. They've got him, and you can tell it's basically a cardboard cutout of Bruce Lee's face.
Jesus.
Yeah. So anyway, while this is going on, Steiner's he's telling Billy Lowe, you got to cooperate with us, play ball, basically they want to muscle in.
Rick or Scott, by the way.
No relation. They don't want to be getting sued from them. He basically saying to Billy Lowe, that they basically want to jump in on Billy Lowe's fame. He's a famous movie star, and they basically want to get a cut of the action. Apparently this was common practice in Hong Kong at the time. It's fueled some of the speculation that Bruce Lee was killed by the mafia. And Billy Lowe, he gets up, punches Steiner, and Steiner, he's angry by this and leaves. Billy Lowe goes to see his girlfriend Anne. She's singing in a recording studio. She's basically singing a song that's slightly better than a British Eurovision entry. And
slightly, though, only slightly.
Only slightly. She's got a pretty decent voice, and she looks okay. I'd say she's long shot fit. I'd say she's
quite fit.
She's quite fit. I'd say I'd say she's
nice boobs.
Yeah, I'd say she's standard definition fit. I wouldn't put her on HD. And she's a shit actress.
I'd like to know
Absolutely.
your 4K fitters.
4K. And Anna de Armas is Anna de Armas, from the James Bond film. She is biblical fit. She is like so fit that she's Sonic Screwdriver fit.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, Sonic Screwdriver fit. Any door in the world will open up for her. Like she could walk up right there to the Queen's office if she has one of those.
I had a few mates watch it, and they were telling me on the weekend that they don't think the Bond girl is as fit as she should be in this one. So
Do they mean the main Bond girl, Madeline Swan?
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, but basically this girl, she was only in it for like one scene. Spoilers if anyone's out there. But like that's how fit she is. She's only in it for like, I don't know, less than 10 minutes maybe, but she makes the poster. She's that fit. she's franchise fit. That's how fit she is. Anna de Armas, she's Anna de Armas is, you give her the last lifeboat on the Titanic fit. This girl who plays the character of Anne, she is, I'll give you a boost, but if you don't make it, you're on your own. That's different levels of fitness. She is. I'd say Anne is. You'd give Anne the spare life jacket. Anna de Armas, you can have my kidneys. Anyway, so Billy Lowe's goes to see his girlfriend Anne singing in the recording studio. Good voice, shit actress, and sadly that all her singing in the film is done. So we've got to see. And also I should say, Billy Lowe as well, character. He's played by about 4 different geezers.
Bruce Lee, Bruce Lang, Bruce Lee.
All getting
Lion Tie.
This is their moment, mate. This they've been waiting for this moment all their life. In the words of Phil Collins, this is their Godfather. This film.
With a tear in my eye.
That was then when they got the call up, and so some of them are doing the lines. Some of them, there's one of them's just like he's being dubbed in some of the scenes, and then there's one of them doing the acting. And needless to say, all the acting from Billy Lowe, regardless of the actor, is shit. Is terrible. Anyway, so basically they go to dinner. We cut to Steiner, who's gone to see the mob boss, Dr. Land. Bob Wall's character is in the room, and he completely ruins the mystique that he built up from Enter the Dragon and the Way of the Dragon. This mean-looking guy with a scar on his face, and you hear his high-pitched voice, and he's like, "What the fuck is this?" All the intimidation goes away with this geezer's voice. Like, what the fuck is this?
Dr. Steiner's here. We're all next door. Steiner's here.
Oh, we'll get right to it.
And yet they're training for this. I don't know if it's a karate tournament on the poster. I think that's what it is. They're training for this tournament that the mob are putting on. And Danny Nasanto, he's also in the room working for the mob. And there's a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar lookalike who's, a bit meant to be passed off for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's character. And yeah, sitting in the corner. And yeah, they talk about Billy Lowe not cooperating, and they're saying that they should squeeze him. They should try and get him to cooperate. We cut to Billy Lowe and Anne. They're going for dinner, and Billy Lowe is driving, and they're followed by some bikers all dressed in like the sort of inverted versions of the famous yellow tracksuit. It's, instead of it being mostly yellow, it's mostly black with yellow stripes. There's a few. I know there's a few different colours at this point, but yeah, they're in those tracksuits. Billy Lowe stops, gets out of the car, tells Anne, "Stay inside, love. Stay inside." Billy Lowe gets out of the car, and Steiner threatens him, and then attacks him. And then the henchmen dressed in the biker outfits, Steiner, Danny Nasanto, they all try and attack Billy Lowe, and there's a fight scene. Billy Lowe gets hit with some chairs, ECW chants ringing out somewhere.
It just looks so lame, the fighting in it, doesn't it? And like the colour, like you said, the colours they're wearing as well. It just looks dead, yeah, like cringy, and like they look like fucking Power Rangers or some shit.
Yeah, you've nailed it right there. It's awful. Not much intensity in this fight scene at all. And sometimes you can see the henchman. Like, you watch a Bruce Lee fight scene. If Bruce Lee's going to kick someone up, like if he's going to kick someone, he'll knock them off their feet. If he's going to punch someone, they're going to double over. There's bits here with Billy Lowe. He'll like strike someone and then they'll walk off. He'll like half strike them. They'll walk off and then someone else will come up. It's shit fight scene. And it's just the stuntman just stumbling all over the gaff. And yeah, Billy Lowe, he gets beaten down. And that's one thing I would say about Bruce Lee. You never saw in a Bruce Lee film Bruce Lee getting his ass handed to him. He might take a few punches, a few knocks, but he'd never get absolutely smashed.
Well, this jabroni, even just before the fight, when he gets out of the car with his big, massive black glasses and this terrible shirt that he's got on, looks lame already. And then, yeah, the end of the fight just looks even worse. And there's a kick at the end of the fight. I don't know if you've seen that kick. He gets booted, and it misses by like half an inch as well. Just really bad directing there as well.
Right, and John Cena took inspiration from this geezer. And yeah, he gets beaten down. You know, Bruce Lee, what he'd do is he'd beat up the enemies and they'd flee. This guy just getting beaten down, left in the street, and they basically say, you know, that's a warning from the mob. So after getting beaten down, they go to dinner. A reservation's a reservation. You've got to go through it.
Cool. Not missing a big fat steak ever.
I mean, it's a hungry work getting your ass kicked. It's hungry work. So they go to dinner, Billy and Ann, with this guy called Jim Marshall. And Jim Marshall, he's the character here is a journalist who's, I think, mates with both of them. And he's played by an actor called Gig Young. And this actor met his fifth wife, Kim Schmidt, on the set of this film, Game of Death. Anyway, months after the film...
there, by the way. 5 wives.
Five wives.
Ric Flair giving him for a run for his money.
Yeah. And yeah, 5... Well, going one further than Ric Flair, I believe. I think Ric Flair had 4 wives. But yeah, so it'll be his fifth wife and his last wife. As months after the filming of Game of Death, Gig Young killed his wife and then killed himself.
Jesus.
Yeah, and this story was people already knew about this by the time the film was released in North America. So the film couldn't get any more awkward.
God, yeah, what you do in that situation?
Fuck it. Yeah. I think that was their whole ethos behind this film. Fuck it.
Yeah,
Fuck it. So Jim, might as well, fuck it. So Jim Marshall warns Billy and Ann about the mob and tells them about someone who's done in by the mob. We cut to a shot of James Tien getting beaten up by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and it's basically the scene where James Tien tries to climb the steps and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar just jumps up. I don't even think though if he jumps, he just sort of like gets his hand and like pulls him off the stairs. And yeah, they cut to that shot there. Then they cut back to the restaurant. And yeah, the actor playing Billy Lowe, awful in this scene, speaks in a very quiet voice for some reason. Yeah, just shit. Billy Lowe goes to a dressing room and chats with his uncle. And his uncle says, you got to sort out the mob, mate. You got to sort them out. And then some henchmen in biker outfits come in. They're joined by Dan Inosanto as well and Bob Wall, and they beat up Billy again. He gets his ass beaten up again. So yeah,
it's supposed to be the hero, the baby face of the franchise right here. 20 minutes into the film, been beaten down twice.
Exactly. Just shit. Then we cut to the mob again. And they say, Billy hasn't called, so, let's do him in. We then see Billy calling Ann and says that she has to be ready to get on a ferry tonight. We need to scarp her. Ann meets Billy on the ferry, and when Billy gets there, he says to her, you need to go back to the States. It's dangerous. The mob want to do me in. I'll join you later. I just got to do this film, And Ann don't listen to him. And calls Jim they go to confront Billy on the set of Fist of Fury. Even though earlier he was filming The Way of the Dragon, but now he's on the set of Fist of Fury, which was released before that. So
this is so confusing, this film, mate. Jesus.
Yeah, as I say, I think the ethos must have just been fuck it. Fuck it. Yeah, just fuck it. So we cut to them filming the last scene of the Fist of Fury, where Bruce runs out and he fly kicks into the firing squad. We get the freeze frame, and the director is handing out blanks to all the people firing the guns. And very ominous if you think about Brandon Lee. But they weren't to know what would happen in years' time. So again, another reason why this film's awkward.
No, Jesus, never even thought of that.
Yes, yeah.
Crazy that.
Yeah.
Moral of the story: always draw blanks, except in the bedroom.
There, some of Bruce Lee's forgotten philosophy.
Exactly. That's one that's underlooked.
Overlooked, mate.
I should say.
So the director's handing out blank bullets to all the people firing guns. All the actors are meant to be the firing squad, and he hands one out to a mobster, a guy dressed in a suit, clearly standing out, and he puts the blank away and puts a real bullet in his gun, and then they go to film the take, and this guy in the suit, who I presume not part of the crew, no one has a problem with him crouching down in broad daylight, in view with witnesses. Billy Lowe comes running out and he just shoots him in the face. I don't know if he might be part of the he might be meant to be there because there's a lady applying makeup to this mobster. So I don't know is he an actor or I don't fuck knows. But he's
got a bit of it. I don't know. It's just the hair. I think it's just the hair. He looks a bit like Mick Jagger.
He hasn't got the moves like Jagger. There's no stealth to this guy, no subtlety. He just in broad daylight just shoots him, and no one thinks to like there's a mystery that's going on, like, oh, who killed Billy Lowe? This guy just fucking did it.
Yeah, anyway, the mystery's over. Half an hour in, it's done.
It's done. So Billy Lowe gets shot in the face, and
fucking hell, 30 minutes in, he's been done 3 times. Just what has he got left to fight for? His pride? Nah, that's gone. That's gone a long time ago.
Yeah, this guy beaten up and shot in the face. Why do you want to stay in the? You should have left with Anne on the boat. I mean,
that was the wise choice, mate.
My word. So we cut to the hospital where Jim and the doctor, they talk about Billy's face being fucked up, but Billy's not dead. And Jim talks with Billy, and they decide to fake his death and give him a new identity, a new face, and stage a funeral and not tell Anne. And then
a
bit harsh. And you know, that was kayfabe harsh, and here's a shoot harsh as we cut to footage from Bruce's actual funeral.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Heavy.
Fuck it. As I say, just fuck it. Well, what? This is more footage of Bruce Lee. Fuck it. And I should say, this was a staple of the Bruceploitation film. Loads of these films used this funeral footage. So yeah.
This is the best directed thing in the entire film, probably any of these films as well.
I was about to say, I will give them credit for this. But the bits that they filmed with the characters Bob Wall and Steiner, they actually have made it look like they were actually there at the funeral. That is like convincingly done.
Yeah, well, the only thing.
The only thing. Yeah, and we basically we see Bruce's actual funeral footage intercut with shots of Billy Lowe having this facial surgery, and Steiner, Bob Wall's character, he seemed to get over getting shot in the face very quickly as well. This Billy Lowe. So Anne, Steiner, Bob Wall's character, all at the funeral, and Jim, he's at the funeral as well. And Anne goes over, spits at the mob, and shouts at Jim, and then walks off and faints. We then cut to Anne at a clinic, like a sort of a rehabilitation facility, something like that. Seems quite nice, actually, that facility. Nice view. Yeah. And Jim comes to visit her, and Anne says she knows who killed Billy. I'd suspect it'd be the bloke who shot him in broad daylight with witnesses. That's who
The
I
one with
think.
the gun.
The one
That
with the
walked
gun.
past everyone.
Yeah. The one who you saw kill Billy Lowe. I think that'd be the guy. No one seemed to suspect him. And yeah, Jim leaves, and then Steiner and the bloke who shot Billy Lowe, the bloke who shot him comes. Don't I know you from somewhere? No, none of that. Steiner and the bloke who shot Billy Lowe, they come over, and Dr. Land comes to visit, and they try and sign Anne, because as we talked about before, Anne in the recording studio, she's a recording artist, so they try and sign her, and she tells them to sling their hook, and that makes Dr. Land angry. Then we see Billy Lowe all bandaged up, and he's drawing a mustache and a beard and some sunglasses on a picture of Bruce Lee, and the doctor says, he'll have a normal face. And so the next scene is Billy Lowe, bandages are off, got over that surgery very quickly. Whoever's the plastic surgeon, whoever's doing that, is done a very good job. He's like nothing, just completely like nothing had changed. Next scene, he's got sunglasses on, and he's wearing a fake beard and a fake moustache. That's good enough. No one seems to recognise him in the story. Famous film star Billy Lowe, just walking about. No one's bothered. Fake moustache, fake beard, sunglasses. That's the trick. He starts stalking these mobsters, and Anne tries to tell Jim the blokes who killed Billy visited her, and Jim don't want to hear it. He's quite a shit journalist if he can't investigate this shit. Billy continues to follow the mobsters, and he follows the mobsters to a business deal in this really nice gaff, and the mobsters are trying to fix this martial arts tournament. And after the meeting and the people they're doing business with walk off, Billy Lowe goes up to Dr. Land, who's on his own at this point, and he starts strangling him. And then some henchmen come over, and Billy Lowe fights them. And this fight scene is pretty decent, actually. It's pretty good. And yeah, the stuntmen, some of them taking some really good bumps up there, going into the water, climbing up, getting knocked back in again. And then Bob Wall's character comes on the scene, and they have a bit of a fight between Bob Wall and Billy Lowe's character. And then Steiner starts shooting at Billy, and Billy runs away as Bob Wall's character chases him. So, as I say, Bruce Lee in his films, he'd beat up the bad guys and make them flee. This time, he's beat up the bad guys, but now he's fleeing. So he's getting there.
Yeah, progress has been made.
Progress is made.
Not quite sure about that beard either, Lou. Looks a bit like yours, and it gets out of control.
He's not even as long as mine. He could have made some effort. He could have probably grown a beard in that time. I'm not impressed by the beard.
No, it's a 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10. So afterwards, all the mob guys are speaking, and they're talking, and they don't seem to recognise that was Billy Lowe. Even though he was right up close to them, all he had was a fake beard, fake moustache, and sunglasses. They don't fucking recognise it's Billy Lowe. So
clearly Specsavers wasn't going back then.
Exactly, mate. They could have. Dr. Lands, he could have done with an optician. He should take his doctorate away. So next we see
the directors could have done with some as well.
Well, they could have. Yeah, they could have done it in that facility that Anne was in. They could have been done with taking a visit there. We see the karate tournament, and Bob Wall and Sammo Hung are fighting. And again, this is pretty good. I think Sammo Hung was like choreographing the fights. So, you can tell, they're pretty good. And the mobsters, they're watching, they're in the crowd. Anne, she's also there. That's a good coincidence. I didn't know she was an MMA fan. So Billy Lowe, he's also there. and he's in a bit of a better disguise this time, and he whispers to Anne, and he says, "Oh, like Anne's like gonna walk over to the mob," and he just whispers to Anne, "Oh, leave it, geezer." And then he walks off, and she sort of notices it's Billy Lowe and turns around, and by that point Billy Lowe's walked off. And then we cut to the fight again, and Bob Wall has knocked out Sammo Hung. I'm not sure if he's killed him or whatever, but he's won the fight. And Bob Wall gets carried to the dressing room. People are holding him up, and there's a quite attractive blonde woman. And and then Bob Wall says, "Oh, you're my wife now," which is a very strange proposal to make. Goes into the dressing room, and Billy Lowe's in the dressing room, and then Bob Wall and Billy Lowe fight, and they keep cutting to close-ups of Bruce Lee in different locations, and try to pass him off as being Billy Lowe. And I think there's also multiple Billy Lowe's in this scene. But apart from all of that,
of course there is.
Apart from all of that, it's a good. Apart from if you get past that, it's quite a good fight scene. And
I wonder how they work that shooting it. Yeah, like they do one take, and they're like, "Okay, get Ty in here." Do the second take. Okay, get Leng in here. Another take. Get Lee in here. They get Lay, and then they go back around. Like that must take the piss. How long did the film take on this? The production, geez.
It's probably just like, oh fuck, I need to go to the bog. All right, you step in. Right. Fuck it.
Tell you what, that's quite an easy acting job, that one.
Yeah. The film's pre-sold in China. It's the equivalent of Kevin Nash go, we got their money, champ. Like, it's just fuck it. So Bob Wall's character does the thumbs up, thumbs down thing from The Way of the Dragon, but the way it's shot, you can't actually see all of his hands, so it sort of cuts off him doing the thumbs down thing. So yeah, not great there. And Billy Lowe in this fight does in Bob Wall, and kicks him into a locker in the process. Then we cut to Anne trying to convince Jim that she knows who killed Billy Lowe. And again, I don't know how this investigation has not been closed. People fucking saw him do it. And the mobsters think Billy might be alive, and so they go to dig up Billy's grave. And they find a fake statue. It's Steiner goes to dig up Billy's grave, and I should say Steiner is carrying this cane that's got this like sort of sharp like blade like in the bottom. And what he does, he pokes they dig up the coffin. They see like a mannequin of Billy Lowe there, and they poke at the mannequin, and it's sort of like a porcelain mannequin of Billy Lowe, and it breaks, and he goes, "Oh shit, it's not Billy Lowe, he's not brown bread, oh fuck, it's not him." So Anne has arranged through Jim to meet up with Billy Lowe at the cemetery, which is convenient because that's happens to be where the mobsters are. And and Billy, is trying to have a conversation with Anne, but is interrupted by these mobsters. And Billy seems to be played by a different actor again, so I'm not surprised that they didn't recognise it was Billy Lowe, to be honest. I mean, Anne must really love him if he's been played by so many different people, and she still knows it's him. I mean, that's a good partner for you.
Must have had a hell of a budget as well. Can you imagine the amount of people who've been paying the actors they had to pay as well? Like, Christ, a lot of wages to pay.
Yeah. It's everyone wants to get in on this. This is the Godfather of the Bruceploitation. This is the big payday people are waiting for. So Billy sees one of the mobsters' henchmen on a bike, wearing the black biker outfit that they wore before, and tells Anne to scarp her. And so the henchman on the bike, they go and they kidnap Anne, and then Steiner tells Jim to surrender Billy Lowe, and they'll let Anne go. Jim then tells Billy this. Billy goes to meet the mob to surrender in a warehouse, and they cut to a shot of Bruce's eyes, and then Billy runs into the warehouse, and he sees Anne's tied up, and doesn't untie her hands up at first, just takes out the mouth gag, you dirty bastard. And then he bit no time for the S&M, mate. He's being kidnapped here.
At least they're being realistic when it comes to that for Bruce. We know, as we have covered, Bruce was quite the kinky guy.
Yeah, we don't know if he indulged in any S&M though. We don't want to. Don't we? He did carry a whip in the Game of Death, didn't he? So,
There we go.
There
He
we go.
dressing up in leather, like coloured leather, and so yeah, I think so.
I didn't see that deleted scene, but yeah. Anne doesn't really seem to be really distressed. I mean, she seems to be more knackered, if anything.
Is that enough?
She's had enough. So basically, Billy Lowe unties her and tells
she's
her.
She's got about 6 different phone numbers for these Bruce Lee wannabes.
She's knackered. She's for God's sake, which one is it now who's coming to rescue me? And yeah, so he unties her and tells her to hide. And then the men in the biker outfits, they break through the windows into the warehouse. So Billy kicks a biker in the face, knocking him off his bike. And then in the next shot, he's now wearing the biker's yellow outfit. Of course, the famous yellow outfit that we all know from this film, the yellow tracksuit. So he's got changed very quickly if he's done that. And so yeah, there's a cool fight scene.
Didn't see him carrying a bag either of clothes, but there we go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. Is he wearing his original clothes on underneath? In which
sweating,
sweating as fuck. Or did he just did he quickly get nude? Did he quickly whip his bollocks out and put the tracksuit on there in the warehouse while you've got bikers swarming about? I don't know which one happened.
He's method acting and he knows sweat glands.
Very good there, very good. So this fight scene with the bikers, I think, is quite cool. It's quite decent. And yeah, Billy Lowe gets to the fight scene with these bikers, hops on one of the bikes, and yeah, it's all right. It's all right. So while this is going on, Steiner shows up outside while the fight is happening inside the warehouse, and the bloke who shot Billy Lowe also shows up. And outside the warehouse as well, it's pissing it down. It's raining. The weather's awful. So Billy Lowe takes out the bikers in the warehouse, goes outside, and he continues taking out the bikers, continues beating them up. And then he starts having a fight with the bloke who shot him. And, he beats him up and then says to him, "Oh, where's Lang? Where's Lang?" And he says, "Oh, Dr. Lang, he's out. We don't. I don't think we audibly hear what he tells him, but he basically says to Dr. Lang is at his hideout, which is his restaurant. We see, basically at his headquarters, and yeah, he's soaked at this point. It's in the rain. He's shouting at him. He's in the rain. He's pissing it down. He's soaking wet in his yellow outfit. And then next shot, Billy Lowe riding there on his bike, and now the rain's all gone, and he's suddenly dry.
Jesus,
that's a miraculous yellow, very absorbent yellow tracksuit. That he's bone dry.
Yeah. Now I know why Frank started wearing it as well.
Yeah. He could have had he could have kept his sweat glands if he's going to wear that outfit. Remarkable. So Billy shows up at this hideout, which is this restaurant. Again, in Bruce Lee's script, meant to be this pagoda on this island. There's a big statue of Buddha. Yeah, Bruce Lee spotted the location because it was like the biggest statue of Buddha in Hong Kong, I think it was, or maybe even in Asia. It was massive. He picked it out for a reason. And Robert Klaus just went, nah, fuck it. Top of a Chinese.
Nah, you'll just climb through a fence. That's it. There you go.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Just down a side street back alley. Yeah, fuck
it. Poor.
Yeah. So luckily, door left open. So Billy goes in, goes to the restaurant, and then he climbs up these stairs. And on the stairs, we see there's a load of weapons on the stairway. I don't know what food you could cook with those weapons. It's fortunate that these weapons were there. As we see Billy Lowe pick up a bag which is the bag with the nunchucks on and the green bamboo whip that we actually see in Bruce's footage. Goes up the stairs, and now finally this film gets at least a little bit decent.
Yeah,
as
he's
we
got a
see.
completely different face, but here we go.
Here we go. Here we go. Now, finally, the moment you've paid your fucking tickets for. Here's Bruce Lee. And suddenly we see night and day the difference between Bruce's fighting ability and his other actors. And Danny Inosanto as well. This is like another level. Danny Inosanto and Bruce, actually, that you see how good they were. And yeah, basically what happened was they cut Bruce, the other two accomplices, out of the film. James Tien's character and the other character, I can't remember who it was. They cut them out. So basically, I had to cut around it, and they've added in shots, like you'll see close-ups of like Bruce Lee like putting down the weapons or like picking them up, because obviously in the original footage, the accomplices were handing it to them, so they try and make it make sense. And these shots kind of do match, so they do know how to do it. They just, I don't know, maybe they just couldn't be bothered with the other footage.
Again, fuck it.
So yeah, so as we detailed in and if you want to have a detailed analysis and a good like review of this fight scene, epic fight scene between Dan Inosanto and Bruce Lee, go over to our That's Why They Were Quality series, because it's incredible.
We can't lump it in with this load of bollocks, because this is probably the best thing he ever filmed, to be honest, or one of them. Maybe.
Oh yeah, I watch this on regular occasions, and yeah, iconic bit of film here, iconic bit of martial arts cinema, and we only get 5 minutes of it in this film.
We'll go to YouTube. There's a good half an hour, 14 minutes there. Yeah,
it's a good. You go to YouTube, you'll see the whole thing there. But here, Robert Klaus, fuck it. Just yeah. So yeah. So yeah, 5 minutes of this fight. Then Bruce goes to the next floor. In this fight, again, the original footage, it's intercut between James Chen on the top floor fighting Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Bruce Lee's in this epic battle. And, you know, it's incredible. This film, see 3 minutes of the fight. Then there's a really bad jump cut as well in there as well. And as I say, they've cut out the other two accomplices of the film. They didn't want them in the story, so that they've cut around them. But they've still left in the footage of James Chen and the other character actually on the floor. So you still see their dead bodies on the floor in these scenes. No explanation on who these guys are.
Jesus, man. I think that's the worst thing about this film. It's been the editing. It's just been poor. Like plot holes, loopholes all throughout the film. Just no explanations needed, apparently.
No explanations could be given. No fucks could be given. He goes up to the top floor, and we get the fight with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and there's no really explanation. I mean, you briefly see him in Bruce's film. All three of these guys, different fighting styles, different. You know, there's a philosophy behind it. In this, fuck it. There's don't get any.
There's just
like,
no relation as to what's been going on for the past hour, 20 minutes. Is there? Who are these characters? Why are they related to any of the other characters before? Why are they related to Bruce getting shot on the set? Like, come on, what is this?
Yeah, all we know is these guys. All we know is two of these guys work for the mob. That's all we know. Their fighting style, like the way it's none of it's gone into in Bruce's original footage. There's like, you know, there's the dialogue, the interaction, criticizing the fight styles during, you know, it's you know, but this, nope, fuck it. And yeah, we get a cut down version of the fight with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. None of the voiceover bits in there, and yeah, all in all, 11 minutes of Bruce's footage was used in this film. Yeah,
sad,
very sad, very very sad. Yeah, in Bruce's original film, this was the set piece. This was basically what like the film was. The film was based around this pagoda. This would be the ending of the film. The whole film was leading up to this fight, the 5 floors. In this film, it's just shoehorned in this fucking weird story.
He climbed through a fence to get here. That's all he had to do.
Yeah. Not even. Yeah. You'd think there'd be someone, a mafia hideout. You'd think there'd be someone like with a gun at least. Like
Considering he got shot earlier.
considering, yeah, in this cinematic, in this film, we've established that guns are about. In Bruce's original idea, the reason why there was no henchman with guns, like Bruce, like he actually explained it, that guns were banned from the island. Same for Enter the Dragon, like, you know, banned guns from the island. In Way of the Dragon, it was the mobsters. Bit of the shitter explanation. Oh, you know, they don't want to shoot guns in broad daylight to attract attention. But at least there was an explanation of why they don't just go up and shoot him. This, fuck it. Like, there's they could give less of a shit.
Goes against the whole philosophy of the entire thing, then, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. No attention to detail here. No fucks given. So yeah, we're back to our regularly scheduled shit as Steiner comes down and fights Billy Lowe. They insert shots of Bruce here as well, and in these shots of Bruce, we see he has a black eye and marks on his face. However, when they cut back to shots of Billy Lowe, doesn't have any black eye and doesn't really have marks on his face. So again, no fucks given.
It's so bad, the fact that he tried to follow it up with another fight scene. That's just like not even half as good.
And Steiner takes the little mo bump from EastEnders as he goes flying down the stairs. Steiner gets chucked down the stairs, and he's brown bread. So Billy Lowe goes to the top floor, and we see it's Dr. Lang's office, and Dr. Lang is sitting at a desk with his wrist slit, and he's bleeding out, which is a bit of a disturbing visual, which they crammed in for no reason. And Billy Lowe walks up to him. Turns out, it's a wax statue. So they whoever's making these wax statues in Hong Kong in this film,
don't pay any of these shit actors. Pay the person who made these.
I mean, some of these wax statues bring more life to the dialogue than the actors.
100%.
100%. Billy Lowe, he takes off the head of the wax statue and goes, "Oh, it's wax." And then Billy Lowe follows Dr. Lang out of the office. We cut to shots of Bruce still in the pagoda. Then we cut to Billy Lowe, and he's in the office. So they completely don't match, but fuck it.
Yeah. It's about 6 different actors, remember, so at least he can be in 2 different places at once.
That's true. Very true. Very true. So Billy Lowe chases Dr. Lang onto the roof and fly kicks through the glass, and chases Dr. Lang on the roof, and this causes Dr. Lang to fall to his death, and then he's fall to his death, and then we cut to we basically see the graphics from the end of the film's over, and one of the most unsatisfying movie villain deaths of all time.
Yeah, what was the point in the wax doll thing? It's just pointless, really.
It's just completely pointless. Fuck knows why they did it. And yeah, like, remember Enter the Dragon? Like that movie death was Mr. Han impaled on a spear. We said it in the podcast. One of the most satisfying villain deaths in film. And the death of Chuck Norris's character. He was killed, and then it was sort of like a dignified a warrior. Like, a warrior has died. So Bruce Lee's he's paying his respect, putting his gi over him and laying down his belt on him. Satisfying death. In Fist of Fury, the villain gets a good death in that. In the Big Boss, you see Bruce Lee. He's punching the Big Boss guy until the Big Boss is dead, and Bruce is all of his energy is worn out, and he collapses on top of him after this epic battle. This film just chases the geezer, and he's a bit slippery out there because it was raining.
It's a bit wet.
It's a bit wet because remember it was raining a few seconds ago. It was raining earlier on in the evening, and he's dead.
Yeah, and it lasts like fucking a minute, don't it? Like he did, like it's just all over instantly. Like no time to let it settle or anything.
Yeah, exactly. No time, no time. And there was two more alternative endings. One in which Billy Lowe gets nicked for killing Dr. Lang, and then there's another.
God.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah, if it
God.
wasn't already depressing enough, this film. And then one in which Billy Lowe and Anne leave on the ferry. And
God, I'm glad I've never seen them.
yeah. So then the end credits play, and the ballads that Anne was singing earlier is playing, and it's again, it's slightly better than a British Eurovision entry. It's all right song, and we see shots of Bruce Lee's other films, and it ends on a shot of like Bruce Lee looking like melancholy. And that's the way it ends. So that's the first respectful thing I've probably done to Bruce in this film.
I know, but you just show this end credit scenes, all these amazing fight scenes in his films, and you just think, what the fuck have I just watched? I could have been watching these.
Yeah, exactly. What a load of shit.
It should have just been two entirely different films, like all the editing. There was like just random edits of like a panned shot of Bruce Lee in one of his films for like a second, and that was it. There was no relation to, like, it just made no sense. Why is there a shot of his face right now? There's no need. It's pointless. It's unnecessary. So just do a totally different film. Don't even include any of his stuff in it, because that just makes it worse.
So it completely does. This film grossed an estimate of $40 million worldwide, and it probably grossed out a lot more people worldwide than that.
Grossed me out then, just watching just fast forwarding through it, tell you that.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
need an anti-sickness.
Yeah, and this film as well, needless to say, no breasts. What's going? Not even that going for it.
Well, that's how you know it's not a Bruce Lee film then.
Yeah, it's the only one of Bruce's films, only one of Bruce's martial arts films with no breasts in it. What the fuck?
What a load of shit.
What a load of shit. I don't recommend watching this film. It is terrible. It's awful.
Pretty shit, yeah. Just in terms of the fight scenes are shit, and even when some of them are alright, then you look at the end credit scene and you're like, okay, actually no, they're still pretty shit. Yeah,
exactly. If you grade on a curve, they're like, if you grade on a curve, then it's all right. But yeah, they're not. They're not amazing. That was Bruceploitation. That was the 1978 version of Game of Death.
I like the way you called it. So that was, you said, the godfather of the Bruce Lee exploitation era.
Exactly. Yeah. It was the Godfather and the Godfather 3 of those.
Definitely. Jesus.
Oh my God! It was just low. I hope I've done this film justice on how shit it was. It was fucking dreadful.
Oh, I reckon Game of Death with the exclamation mark might even be as good as this. Might be better.
It might be better. It might be. I've now watched this film twice. I watched it once just so, because I'd never seen it before growing up. So I was always told, because basically a lot of the ways I watched Bruce Lee films was in the off license. They had like a shelf of films to rent, and they had like Bruce Lee films in there. So my mum would rent those and I'd watch them. And I think it was the guy behind the counter, like Game of Death was one of the films, and I think the guy behind the counter was like, oh yeah, don't watch that, don't like Bob. And I took his word for it. I was like, oh fuck it, I won't watch it then. And he was right. He was fucking right. He was right. Good advice from that man.
By the way, it doesn't get as British as that. Went to an off license and rented a Bruce Lee VHS.
Yeah.
British culture that.
They were the days, mate. Fucking.
Got a 46% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Audience score 63%. Fucking hell, audience watching that.
Oh, lost respect for that website now. Fuck me. It's
blame the people. The people, blame the audience. Their fault.
Yeah, their fault. I mean, again, it grossed 40 million worldwide apparently. So apparently for the time that was good money. So.
And all the Bruces in the world, Bruce Ling, Bruce Lee, Bruce Lee, Bruce Tay and Tai, they made bank because of Bruce exploitation, and that's the biggest takeaway from this. You know, this guy Bruce Lee was such an icon that you can make hundreds and hundreds of films just based off his name. You know, what he brought to culture, his fighting style, all that. But there'll only ever be one Bruce Lee, and that's Bruce Lee.
That's good. Even Bruce Lee is imitators. It's that guy puts the lie in Bruce Lee. Absolute. Oh, just just well. Thank you for joining me, and I apologise as well for taking you through that.
Yeah, apologies, but I had fun doing it. And I think kind of just reading as well, it's Bruceploitation sort of kind of ended in a way when Jackie Chan finally came on the rise, apparently, and sort of there was a new wave of Kong cinema as well because of that. So, but then we've already touched on it with like games and all that, like all that sort of birth from Bruceploitation. You know, like I talked about Street Fighter and all that, and manga and anime and all that. That's all. There's a lot of Bruceploitation when it comes to that, but there's no way we're going to cover all of that because I don't know. I've got the energy left after covering all that shite.
Yeah, fuck all that. Yeah, and you say Bruceploitation's dead. I mean, it sort of depends how you define it, because there was an Indian film called, and I can't pronounce this, Puthiya, Bruce Lee, that was released in 2018, which is apparently a Bruceploitation film. Yeah. So
I guess just wrap up, innit, Lou? More content to come, isn't there? As well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're gonna be back in your ears very soon. We got your list of the top 25 rappers coming up next.
Hip hop groups, yeah.
Oh fuck.
50 rappers is already out, as you'll already know that because you've already listened to it many times.
That's what this episode has done to me. It's fucking scrabbled my brain, mate. I think I'm getting out of breath as this film's going on. Just the amount of exhaling I'm doing at the fucking production of this film.
Of wider but quality.
Oh god.
Yeah, so let's just follow us on the socials as always. You know, that's why the quality, Facebook and Instagram. And Luis Sanchez still strong on Tinder and the likes.
Still on Tinder, still on Plenty of Fish, and still down the fish market. So
sweet. Nice one, Lou. Another good one.
Another good one. Thanks very much, geezers. Thank you, Paddy, and thanks, geezers, for listening. See you next time.
Yeah, peace out, geezers.